Welcome 8th House Tarot. I'm Akdayud, and this reading is for Cancer Ascendant. This new moon is in your 11th house in the sign of Taurus. This happens in the lunar mansion called Rohini, the growing one. For you this month, the card that came out is the Eight of Swords. It came out reversed. So this month, this shows that there'll be less expense, less debt. The Eight of Swords indicates the sign of Gemini. Gemini is the 12th house. Expense, waste, debt, loss, spirituality, charity. It's the house of liberation. And there you have the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Discs indicates Leo, the sign of Leo and Virgo. So this shows that there's been an increase in finances and your own efforts, motivations, ambitions. So again, you don't have to put in as much effort this month to pay your debt. So there's less expense. There's less interference on your path this month. The shadow card for you, for all of us, is the Princess of Cups. The Princess of Cups is a card that embodies the signs of Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. It's a card that expresses divine union, deep emotional connections. It's has to do with soul exploration. The Princess of Cups for Cancer is centered on your fifth house. The fifth house for Cancer has to do with your love affairs, romance, children, creativity. The fifth house is also the sense of destiny. So this month really is about your sense of destiny, this divine relationship that you have with yourself, with others, what's going on in your life. Now, the cards that come out here and what's going on with the card that come out for your ascendant and what lies beneath the surface of it. Ultimately, this really is about discovering yourself and finding what you need, discovering what you need. The priestess is revealing something. It's something that you need to be open to and receptive to. This brings gains. This ultimately fulfills your, because the sun and moon come together, this is in alignment with your highest ambition, dreams, goals. So that's where this all begins for you this month. The priestess is associated with the moon, and the moon rules for you the ascendant. So this wisdom ultimately is going to influence or impact the ascendant, your first house, your sense of self, well-being, your characteristics, disposition, and tendencies are seen in the first house, which is ruled by the moon. So and you're constantly taking care of others. So this ultimately is in alignment with your highest dreams for yourself. The card under beneath the surface of the Eight of Swords is the Seven of Swords. So the choices that you have to make, because the Eight of Swords being associated with the sign of Gemini and Jupiter, this is associated with the Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune. So this has to do with making decisions based on the patterns that you see. So that's really what's beneath the surface of the Eight of Swords, what you're dealing with. You have in the idea of love affairs, romance, The Magician is reversed, so a lot of attention is there. It's what's hidden beneath the surface. It's Scorpio. It's intense. But for you, the seventh house of partnership has the Ace of Discs. So this is the beginning. This is a card of growth, of power. It's ruled by the sun. So there's enlightenment here in this relationship. Yo, the, the new moon is happening in your 11th house, and this is opposite your 5th house. So again, this new moon is putting the its light into the 5th house, your sense of destiny, your love affairs, your romance, and it's looking at those things. So the decisions that you have to make, the choices that you have to make moving forward in this relationship, on your life path, for your to fulfill your own destiny, is really what's going on. The Seven of Swords beneath the surface of the Eight of Swords indicates Aquarius and the wealth of your partner. It's also the house of hidden mysteries, the house of secrets, it's the house of transformation. So there, in the sign of Aquarius, you have the Two of Swords. So these decisions might make you feel uneasy and feel like a loss of peace in to make a decision, to feel like you need to make a decision because of this. So this is the energy that you're dealing with, that ultimately comes by this full moon. The full moon cycle happens in your 6th house, the 6th house of conflict, of competition. The Ace of Wands is there. So this full moon might bring some conflict, but beneath that conflict is healing. The Ace of Wands has the power to achieve its objectives. So this is the house of service. It's the house of daily activities. It's our everyday service. So this tends to be our enemies, where we find the most competition in our daily activities. So there can be change here. The Ace of Wands shows that there's change in this. So really, beneath the surface, this is a change for yourself, needing to make this change, bringing this all together for yourself. With the cards that come out and the indications is the choices that you have to make might seem difficult, or you may make these decisions based on the difficulty that it feels like, because beneath the surface of the 7, the 8 of Swords is the 7 of Swords. It might feel futile, that the relationship can go either way. The moon, the 2 of Swords being reversed in the sign of Aquarius, feeling like this potentially can go either way, so the decision becomes more difficult to make. But this is ultimately about you. All relationships are a basis of the relationship that we have with ourselves. So the success of that relationship is based on the relationship that we have with ourselves. So really, this is about having a relationship with yourself and not so much worrying about the relationships with everyone else. Because the biggest part of this reading being this pointing to the Knight of Discs, that has to do with family and siblings, and both cards there being reversed. and the Ace of Discs in the sign of relationships, the shadow self, and beginning this relationship with the shadow self. So that's what Cancer has to be dealing with this month, is that relationship with the shadow self, their partner. So the decisions that have to go into that, and that's really what Cancer will be dealing with this new moon, and your highest ambitions, goals, and dreams for your relationships. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so Venus is the indicator of relationships. So your highest dreams and ambitions depend on the relationship that you form. So that's really what you have to deal with this month for Cancer Ascendant. And I will see you again next month for the next new moon that'll happen in the sign of Gemini. I'll take care.